impulse control with her. We're also going to be focusing heavy on recall, you know, because obviously when you have a dog that is very impulsive, right, everything, as you can see, she's all over the place. She cannot steady her brain, right? So when you have a dog like that, obviously it's very hard to engage a dog like that, right? So recall, which is a part, is a derivative of engagement, because obviously you can't call something that's not engaged with you, right? So we're going to be working heavy on the impulse control, heavy on the engagement, heavy on the recall with this particular girl, and then all the other things that normally comes with training a dog. Sit down, come, you know, all of that stuff that everybody wants their dog to do. We're going to be working on that with her, right? So I just want to kind of take you guys through the beginning stages of, as the people in the background yell profusely loud, right? I don't know if you can hear them, but it is very distracting. So now I got to control my impulses because all I hear is them yelling in the background. So let's get to the video, right? So what we're going to be working on today with her, I want to take you guys through the beginning stages of building the engagement with her. Now, here's the thing I want you guys to see, right? When I have a dog that has super high food drive, right? Super high food drive, and a dog that has super low impulse control, I typically don't start out with treats. Now, it depends on the dog, right? A dog has to already have a certain level of confidence in order for me to do this, right? So you have to use discernment, right? So being that she's a pretty confident dog, I'm not going to start with treats because I don't have to build a level of confidence to get her to come out, right? To get her to be expressive. I'm actually trying to tame some of that expressiveness, right? Because she's a pet dog. She's not a sport dog, right? And here's the thing that I need you guys to understand. There's a difference between obedience for a pet dog and obedience for a sport dog. When you have a dog like this that is very expressive, right? High energy, lacks self-control, lacks impulse control, right? That is not a good combination for a regular everyday person, right? So we need to do what we call capping some of that expression in order for the dog to be able, in order for the human and the dog to be able to exist together in the household. Now, when you have a sport dog, obviously you're going to do things that's going to bring out more of that expression, right? Because you're doing something that needs very high levels of expression. So being that this is not a sport dog, right? Again, we're not trying to break the dog, but we are trying to tame the dog to a certain degree so she's manageable for the people that own her, so the relationship can be a little bit harmonious, a little bit more harmonious, right? So the reason why I will start with what most people will call leash pressure, compulsion, right, is because I need to tame the dog down some, right? And then once I get a certain level of tameness, and then I can start using food to kind of bring her back out a little bit. It's a delicate balance. A lot of trainers can't do it. I'm just going to be honest, right? So it's a delicate balance, right, that you have to play to make sure that you are not suppressing the dog, right? You don't want to suppress the dog to a point where the dog has no life, right? But you do have to cap some of that energy because regular everyday people, they don't have the capacity to manage a dog with such high levels of energy, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So anyway, let's get to it. I'm going to show you guys how
Miss Denisha said you got a cute dog.
Say that again.
Say Miss Denisha Hagan says you have a cute dog.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for the people that actually own it. This is not my dog. This is a dog that I'm training, so we appreciate you for that. So let's get to how we're going to start the process of training this beautiful girl, right? So as you can see, her attention is all over the place, right? So I'm going to call her name. The first thing I'm always going to do is give a dog the benefit of the doubt, right? And what I mean by the benefit of the doubt, I call it doing the least to get the most. So I'm going to call her name just to see if she responds to me. And if she doesn't respond to me, then we're going to take it to the next thing, right? So Lily, right? That's one chance. Now, being that this is our first official session, I'm going to give her another chance. Lily. So no response. So now here's where the correction comes, right? And it's really not a correction right now, it's a redirection, right? So let me show you, right? Lily, 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 yes. Yes, good girl, come on, come on. That's a good girl, yes, that's a good girl, right? So what I want you guys to notice is a couple of things, right? I called her name, she didn't respond. I called her name again, she didn't respond. So now I'm using this leash as a form of communication. I picked up my telephone, right? This is my telephone. Her collar is her telephone. I picked up the telephone and said, hey, I'm calling you. I know you hear me calling you, but you're ignoring me. So now I have to use physical communication, right? Tactile communication to let the dog know, break your attention from over there and put it on me. But here's the most important thing that I want you guys to notice that I did. As soon as she redirected her energy on me, what did I do? I got animated. I rewarded her, right, for giving me her attention. I thanked her for giving me her attention. So let's do it again so you can see it in real time, right? So I'm gonna let her get distracted, right? And we're gonna do that process. So obviously it's something over there that she's distracted by, right? So we're gonna, again, do the least to get the most. We're gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. Lily, Lily, come. So no response, right? So again, tactile communication, right? Lily, Lily, yes, good girl. Come. That's a good girl, yes. That's a good girl. That's a good girl, yeah. That's a good girl. Now, if you notice, I'm getting overly animated, right? Because I really want to reward her for responding. We need to start shaping the behavior of, she knows she's gonna get a lot of love when she responds to her name, right? So let's do it again. Lily, Lily, yes, good girl, come. Right here, yes, come. Right there, yes, good girl, come. Lily, come. Right here, yes, that's a good girl. That's a good girl. Yeah, that's a good girl, right? So basically all I'm doing is letting her brain know I'm conditioning her brain that if she doesn't respond to me, she's gonna get some type of physical correction. Now, eventually we're not gonna have to use that physical correction because we're gonna condition the brain enough to where when we call her name, she's going to want to avoid that physical correction and she's still going to be happy to come to me, right? So that's the duality that you have to balance when you're training a dog, where a lot of people make the mistake. They get very heavy on the corrections, they get very heavy on the compulsion. You suppress the dog so much that the dog looks depressed, right? When you're going through those videos, hey, how you doing? So that's what you want to avoid. You don't want to suppress the dog so much, aka abuse the dog physically, right? Because that's essentially what it is, to where you just shut them down and they look depressed. They almost look scared to come to you, right? So we're gonna do it one more time just so you can see the balance, the switch on and the switch off, right? Lily, come. Lily, yes, good girl. That's a good girl. So you notice she looked that time, right? She looked, she acknowledged me, which means she's learning that her name means something, right? So now what we have to do is continue that process, right? So she looked and then she looked away. So at that moment, she starts looking away. I didn't do it just now because I wanted to show you guys exactly what was going on. That moment when she looked away is when that tactile physical touch would have happened, right? So Lily, yes, come. Yes, good girl. That's a good girl, right? That's a good girl, yes. Right? So did you see that, right? And so she looked, she acknowledged me. And then she said, nah, I really don't care about you. Let me go back here, right? So that's when that tactile touch happens, right? So anyway, folks, we're going to continue this with this beautiful girl. You know, we got 3 weeks with her. So, of course, make sure you follow the process. Make sure you follow the progress. And you can see the difference after 3 weeks. So, as always, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly, 815-371-6636. You can text me. You can send me an email, thestructuredk9academy@gmail.com. You can also leave a comment below. And remember, the structured K9 is a happy K9. And until the next video, peace and prosperity. Lily, right here, Lily, yes, good girl. Right, yes, good girl, that's a good girl. Yes, come. Lily, come. Yes, good girl.